Wonderful, wonderful. Good stuff. How long are you staying, if you don't mind us asking?
I've only been here for a few days actually,
Oh,
about
yeah,
3 days.
yeah.
Yeah, so yeah,
Wonderful.
it's been lovely so far.
We're happy to hear that. Well, may the Lord continue to keep you there. Uh, Very good, Abusianfo. And the Munina must say, it's the 22nd of November. It's 8 o'clock, about 5 minutes on the clock. We're back again with another Doctor's Corner, Doctor's Time. It's your lovely brothers, Joseph and Mark, here again. The month of November, as popularly known as Movember, it's men's health awareness. It's men's health awareness. This is not to say we are leaving the ladies or the women behind. Is that correct, Joseph?
Yes, yes, very much so. As the world focuses on men, I think we also it's only right that we also focus on men. And I think the time will come that we also focus on the women. But today is strictly for the men. But I think some of the diseases that we'll be talking about cut across borders also. I think the ladies can also enjoy it and learn something from it.
Wonderful. And there's a saying go that a stronger man builds a stronger nation and a healthy nation. And
That's,
by
that's
all
correct.
by all means, the men need the women to help them stay healthy. I'm not sure we can do it without them.
Yeah, that's correct.
Brilliant. Okay. We thank everyone who's joined us on Instagram, also on YouTube. Um, Tell a friend, tell a brother, tell a sister. Engage, be with us. With time, we'll be able to allow you to have a call in session. But this time, we are doing most of the talking, at least for now. By all means, if you have any comment, any feedback, please put them up on Instagram, put them up on YouTube or Facebook, and we'll be able to have a look at it. All right, so once again, we are doing men's health awareness discussion, and we'll touch on different bits of things that we think are important for our gentlemen, for our boys, and for our fathers, incorporating a bit for the ladies for that matter. It is us, your hosts, Dr. Joseph and Dr. Mark. Um, we are focusing on a very, very important topic. As rightly mentioned, is men's health awareness. Across Ghana and in our diasporan community, especially our brothers and sisters who are in the UK, um, many men are strong for their families. We do the bustling and the hustling, we do all the working to keep our families afloat, keep them at bay. But when it comes to their health, many stay silent, and I am a victim of one. We hardly talk about health, we hardly seek medical opinion. A lot of the times we don't, just because we like to be commandos. Is that right, Joseph? Do you feel the same?
That's right. We are men are stoical in nature. We want to do everything regardless of what we're going through. So I think it's always a good way to bring our conversations between or amongst men, such as these, on a bigger platform, so everyone can contribute and feel like there's a safe place. Will be able to akasa. Now at least what me I express now.
Wonderful. Yeah. So the aim, at least for today, will be that by the end of some of this discussion, touch bases, we want to have a bit of a change, have dynamic in that, so that people will find a safe zone or be conscious of the fact that um, being a man doesn't mean you don't seek health when it's needed. Yeah. So, a bit of a background information. Statistics show that men, especially African men, I repeat, African men, are less likely to visit the doctor. When was the last time you visited a doctor, Joseph? I know you're a doctor.
Um, I mean, mm, I'd say I spoke to a colleague, not officially.
Yeah.
I spoke to a colleague, yeah, about I think over a week ago, and I tried to do my what I call MOT, which is
Okay.
my screening tests,
Yeah.
every 6 months to 1 year at least.
Yeah.
So I know I'm guilty of a lot of things, but when it comes to health, I try to stay
Yeah.
yeah, up to date as much as I could. So my last tests were only last week actually.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful to hear. And you
Yeah.
see, the key point that you've stated today is that you have had some tests, not because you are sick, but it's just routine checkups. That's the key thing. A lot of times we leave it until symptoms get worse. Even sometimes when we have symptoms, we sort of we think that we can walk through it. We think that it go pass, as we say popularly in Ghana, or this one go pass. This one will be nothing. It's nothing to write home about. And that's the narrative we want to change. Yeah. Um, but most health problems that men face are preventable. So whatever that issues that we think goes through the health aspect of men, they are things that we can prevent if we detect them early. Healthy men means healthy families and a healthier community. We are live on Hot Digital radio station, the number one diaspora station with more than 20 years in the business. They know the intricates and the details of running the show. We thank all our listeners who join us every day, every morning to be part of us. We are really, really grateful. We don't take it for granted. All right. If you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, by all means, give us a nudge, like us, give us your comment, and then we'll hit you back. The key main health issues that we would discuss are some of the common things that you're aware of. Today, specifically, we'll try and talk about maybe 4 or 5 things if time allows us. As in Ghana, probably majority of the rest of the world, prostate health and prostate cancer is the main issue. The other thing we'll talk about will be high blood pressure and heart diseases. Luckily for us, Dr. Joseph is a heart doctor, is a heart specialist. We had a session yesterday last week on chest pain, so we'll touch bits of that here as well. Then we'll talk about almighty diabetes, which doesn't spare men. Mental health is so important as well, and then sexual and reproductive health. We'll break this down one by one. Yeah, Joseph, is that the plan?
Right.
Good. All right. Beautiful. Okay. Let's start with prostate health for a start. Um, we know that prostate health affects black men mostly. I think we said that, especially people of age 40. Uh, why is prostate health so important? Go on, Joseph.
Right. So prostate health, as we've already said, is very, very important because it is one of the common or commonest cancers in men and in particular African and Ghanaian men. Very common, usually early age, above the age of 40. So it's important that we let people aware that this thing is around, and most importantly, what to look for, signs to look for, how to detect these things, and the early treatment that's available. So yeah, that's why I think it's probably one of the most important things that we talk about today,
Oh,
because the signs are very detectable.
yes, I agree. Prostate. I think we've had a lot of chat and discussion about prostate. We all know that it's a small organ that sits around your back passage. I mean, in general anatomical terms, we call it the rectum. And we say the function of the prostate. What it does is that It nourishes your sperm, so that helps with the sperm to do the things that it needs to do. And for I'm sure we all know what is a sperm, but occasionally the prostate can go through changes. It can get bigger than expected and affects problems. It gives you urinary issues. Sometimes you're having to pass too much urine. Um, Sometimes you're not able to pass the urine and all of those stuff. And so it's a silent disease and it's cancer. And as we are aware, sometimes though it can have benign conditions, sometimes it can have a problem, but not necessarily cancer. But because we know that when it's cancerous, it can be devastating. So we take those issues particularly important. And it's because also it's cancer. It sometimes it spreads to different parts of your body, especially in your spine, and that can give you problems. Now, um, as a note, there are simple things that we can do to detect any prostate issues, if um, if they were to happen. And one of the common things that we always advocate people is a screening. If you go to your doctors, if you go to any laboratory and I ask them to do a test for you, what we call a PSA, they will be able to do it for you. And in the UK, I think it's free. Is that right, Joseph?
Yes, it's free screening for um, men, as I said, especially of over 40 and the at risk group. All you need to do is ask your GP. And some people say, "Oh, I keep asking my GP and I don't get through to them, and it takes a long time." Just keep knocking the door. Keep knocking. Don't get scored at once or twice and they'll leave you now. Keep asking. Keep going and keep being a nuisance to them, and they'll definitely do it for you. I always say that in the UK, the way to do things now has changed. If you're a bit more gentle about things and you don't really knock on the door too many times, they will ignore you. So, just keep knocking on the door, keep going to them, keep being a nuisance to them. You definitely get to what you want.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's good to hear that. Brilliant. I love it. So just to catch up on the previous discussions we've had before, we say that things that will tell you you're having issues with your prostate include frequent urination, your urine, your flow is not strong, is weak. You find that it's not as strong as it used to be. Or sometimes you have some blood in your urine, which I think is a big red flags. In particular, if you note some blood in your urine, I would advise you to immediately seek your doctor, because these things would alert them to perform the necessary investigations that you need. Also, if you have some of these issues and you have some back pain with it, then by all means, take it very seriously, because it could mean that the disease is got into your back. And I think I mentioned before on this platform that back pain that is lasted for more than 4 weeks, you should take it very seriously and work on it. Because we will talk about different things, we wouldn't want to spend all the time on prostate health, but the take home from prostate side of things is that one, it's a very common disease that affects black men, especially men above the age of 40. So when you are age 40 plus, we advocate and advise that you have regular routine checks with your health practitioners and look out for things like urinary issues, back pain, etc., etc. And you could be doing yourself a big favor. You could be doing yourself a lot of goodwill once this is detected early. I have seen firsthand people who have detected this early and they have had a very good outcome, either surgically prevented it from spreading to different parts of their body and going on to live a very, very good quality of life. So, by all means, please don't be silent, don't be shy about it. A lot of these things are preventable when we nip them in the bud early. Thank you very much. We are just about 20 minutes on the clock. Again, a big thank you to our listeners who are on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram who are listening to us. Thank you again for being with us. And those who are listening live on the radio station, also, as always, we are grateful. We'll find a way to let you be interactive. I'm sure you all have inputs, you have comments you want to share with us. Brilliant. Is it right to move on to diabetes, Dr. Joseph?
Um, yes, yes, it is right to move on to diabetes. I think one thing I would say with this, the last thing I said, prostate is um, usually at night, if something that people don't recognize that when the early stages of disease, you start waking up a little bit more at night to urinate. So, as a rule of thumb, if you start waking up more than twice at night to urinate,
Mm,
you know, then
mm,
that's a red flag.
mm,
But obviously, the caveat here is if you're going to bed and you drink a lot of water,
yeah,
then that's a different scenario.
I agree.
But if you're not drinking a lot of water, you're drinking um, the sort of normal amount of water that you are. Nothing has changed in your the consumption of fluids that you take a day, and
Yeah.
you start waking up more than twice a
Mm,
night to urinate, then that's a big red flag.
yeah.
So you definitely have to hope to see your GP as soon as possible. And as Dr. Mark said, I mean, we are stressing on prostate cancer here,
Yeah.
but there's something called benign prostatic hypertrophy,
Yeah.
which is not cancer. It's just that your prostate gets bigger as
Correct.
you get older. So it
Mm,
gets bigger, and it also gives you all these symptoms that we are talking about, the
yeah.
exact same symptoms. But this time around, it's not cancer. But you will not know if you sit at home. The only way we'll know is to go get yourself to the GP or get yourself to a health care facility, get tested, and then we'll pick it up, do some tests called urodynamic studies, and then your doctor will be able to tell you exactly which one have you got. So as soon as you get any of these symptoms, get yourself to be checked quickly.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. You summed it up so well. You've hit on the right points, all the right indicators, and all the right red flags that people need to look out for. Almighty high blood pressure and heart diseases. I probably should leave that for you, Joseph, because you're the expert. And then I'll chip in here and there. Is that all right? So next we want to look at hypertension. Over to you, my brother.
Right, okay. I don't know where to start from habitation. This is the biggest risk factor
Yeah,
for all the killers in the world. When
yeah,
we say risk factor itself, so it's blood pressure itself can kill you,
yeah.
but it can also cause a lot of
What
diseases
what is
that will
what
kill
is
you.
what is what is before you go on, Joseph? What is high blood pressure, or what is blood pressure for that matter?
So
And
blood pressure is the force with
mm,
which blood leaves your heart.
mm,
Okay,
mm,
is the force with which blood leaves your heart.
yeah,
So that's blood pressure. So if you've got high blood pressure,
mm,
then what we are saying is that
mm,
the force with which your blood leaves your heart is higher than the average person.
mm,
Okay,
mm,
that's higher than the average person.
yeah,
And the average person that we are talking about, average number that should be, or
mm,
a normal person should be less than 120 over 80,
mm,
technically.
yeah,
Just to make things simpler.
yeah,
Um, there are other smaller definitions, but
yeah,
today I'll just make things very simple. Less
yeah,
than 180 over, sorry, 120 over 80.
mm,
Um, so this is what we call the resting blood pressure.
mm,
Okay. So
mm,
if you are going out your daily activities, if you're in the
mm,
market, for example, or if
mm,
you're working, if you're doing construction, if you're doing your work, if you check your blood pressure, you find that it's probably 140s or something, or 135 or one. Don't be alarmed too much
Yeah.
because blood pressure exhibits something called a diurnal variation. What that means
Mm.
is that blood pressure goes up and down
Yeah.
as and when during the day. So stress plays a big factor.
Yeah.
Physical activity plays a big factor.
Okay.
Hydration plays a big factor.
Yeah.
Alcohol plays a big factor. A lot of things plays factor in your blood pressure. So as you're going about your day and you're
Yeah.
doing all these things and things are changing, your blood pressure will go up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
So what we need is the average blood pressure of the over the course of the day,
Yeah.
and the resting blood pressure is usually the one at night
Yeah.
when you're rested, when you're not doing much or when you're not doing anything. So this is the one that we need, and it should be less than 120 over 80 for argument's sake.
Yeah.
There's another if it goes up to say 130 over 90, for example. I
Mm.
mean, we will not still said you've got high blood pressure. We can say you've got elevated blood pressure.
Yeah.
But that might be due to again other reasons, other risk factors, other things that are going on in your life.
Yeah.
And we can check you for all these things and ask you further questions.
Yeah.
If you're satisfied that your blood pressure is elevated,
Yeah.
then we can start you on some medication
Yeah.
to
The,
treat you.
sorry to interrupt you there, Joseph. But do you think we have a lot of people, a lot of men for that matter, walking around with high blood pressure without knowing it?
Oh, absolutely. I was going to come to that. Absolutely. It is one of the diseases that people, I mean, the vast majority of people, that's what we call it, the silent killer.
Yeah.
So blood pressure will not warn you,
Mm.
basically.
Mm.
When, if you're lucky, it will give you a lot of a headache, if
Yeah.
you're lucky. But
Yeah.
not everyone gets a headache and a dizziness, if you're
Mm.
lucky.
Mm.
But the vast majority of time, by the time you know you got blood pressure, is either you got a stroke, you got a heart
So
attack,
you've
you
said
got,
something really important. So actually, I have not. I mostly don't even think about it. The symptoms of high blood pressure. You've
yeah.
mentioned two so far, which is headache and dizziness. Is that correct?
Yeah, so this is
I,
this is the subtle ones, right?
okay.
The
Oh,
subtle, yeah,
yeah.
headache and high blood pressure, which can also be caused by a lot of other things.
Yeah.
So yeah, so people tend to ignore headache. I mean, Mark, yourself and we've ignored headache before.
Yes.
You get headache, you just take some paracetamol, you ignore it, and you go about your day. You always headache, it will go away. Oh, maybe you haven't drank too much water. Oh, maybe you haven't done this, and then you do it, and then obviously you sit down, you rest, and then blood pressure comes down, headache goes away. You think you're fine, and you carry on and you start again. So by the time this warns you, you're having the end product, unfortunately, which is sometimes stroke, heart
Yeah.
attack,
Yeah.
and heart failure,
Yeah.
and a lot of all these other things. So yeah, that is essentially the silent killer, high blood pressure, and there's so much to talk about high blood pressure, but I think I'll make it simple.
Yeah.
Um, I'll make it simple that, as I said, so the diseases that it ultimately causes, the most important one is stroke,
Yeah.
and the second one is heart attacks,
Mm.
and the third one is we call heart failure. Heart failure is when
Mm.
your heart is not pumping well. When
It's interesting that you mentioned that high blood pressure. Yeah. It's sometimes I always say how high blood pressure causes heart failure is still a mystery to me, but I'm sure you'll break it down shortly. Before you go on that, I want to mention something, especially with a stroke and a high blood pressure. Um, I mean, we all know stroke is terrible. Stroke doesn't just affect the person who has had a stroke, but it also affects your family members because you become a burden. The problem is that
Mhm,
stroke doesn't kill you; it leaves you with what? With significant deficit. Yeah,
mhm,
significant
mhm,
deficit. So when you're significantly disabled, sometimes you stay on for a very long time. Yeah, with the
mhm,
disability, and that becomes a strong financial, social, and all sort of what burden on you and your family. So knowing that high blood pressure can lead to such a devastating disease, would
Uh-huh.
you would want to what give high blood pressure all the importance that it deserves. And the
Uh-huh.
sad truth is that it affects a lot of black men.
Uh-huh.
It affects a lot of black men. When I was in medical school, we had a saying that because I did my med school in China, we used to say that blood pressure doesn't kill anybody. Yeah, because there are things that you can prevent. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
but in our parts of the world, in the Ghanaian community, a lot of us just go like this because of what? Uh, because of issues with blood pressure, because we've not managed them, because we've not sought healthcare, and because a lot of us are walking around with high blood pressure. Because the thing is that it's a spectrum, isn't it, Joseph? It takes
Yeah,
time, and then when it's not controlled, it hits you. Is that correct to say?
correct.
Yeah. So you might find that you might be having the issue for a period, but because you have not gone to a doctor to get on the right sort of medication, you end up having to suffer the ultimate outcome or effect of the high blood pressure. And it's a disease that can easily be what detected. You don't sometimes even need to go to the doctor, isn't it, to check it?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, because all you need is what is a what's the name of that little machine we used to measure blood pressure?
It's a very long name. Sphygmomanometer.
Correct. Sphygmomanometer is a mouthful, yeah, isn't it? So
Yeah.
you can buy that from any shop, any pharmacy shop. You can have it at home, and all you need to do is what somebody to wrap it around your arm, and then you get the numbers. And Joseph has clearly given us the numbers. Anything above 140, 130, you should be what talking to somebody. Obviously, 120, 140 maybe all right, but if the moment you start hitting like 150, 160, then you want to what speak to somebody. Sometimes I know that. Do you agree that Ghanaians don't like taking medications?
Yeah, we'll come to that. I mean, adherence to medication in terms of blood pressure is one of the biggest things. I mean, I did my master's around something similar, and I
Yeah,
did some research on adherence. And it's
yeah,
not just Ghanaians. Adherence to blood pressure medications, hopefully, inadequate across board.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
People, yeah, I mean, people get fed up of taking medication, chronic medication, like blood pressure tablets. So that's also another big problem. So diagnosing is a problem. Then treatment is also a problem because of the, lack of adherence to some medication that people perceive to give some, side effects, or people just are not just bothered to take their pills just again because they've got no symptoms. So symptoms drive adherence to medication. But if you have no symptoms, then what's it to take? So people don't have the symptoms, so then they don't take their medication. So very quickly,
mm,
let's do come back to I think what we're saying
yeah,
about the blood pressure and uh, stroke and heart failure.
yeah,
Um, so as Dr. Mark clearly said, blood pressure is the biggest cause of stroke, and stroke causes a lot of disability, and disability forces you to into financial, difficulties, and obviously relationship and social and all those things. So what I'm trying to say is a big burden on society.
mm,
If obviously you survived a stroke, if you die, obviously that's catastrophic to you and your
yeah,
family and yourself. But
yeah,
if you survive it and you have a disability, it is a big burden to society and any healthcare setting that you're in.
yeah,
So it is very, very, very important to something that's very simple to check your blood pressures. As Mark said, you can buy a small device, but yeah, this is the reason actually that brought me back. Is what we need to do, Mark, is when you buy the device, the machine, don't just take it home and start saying, okay, I've got a machine, I'm checking it. So
yeah,
the machine has to be calibrated. When I say calibrated, is you have to test the machine to show that it will give you a
mm,
consistent figure or give you the right number.
Mm.
I've seen some machines that people have bought from Boots, and the first time you check it, your blood pressure is 170. All
Mm.
right.
Mm.
Meanwhile, you know that you do not have that sort of high blood pressure. So what you can do is, buy the machine, take the machine to your GP practice.
Yeah.
Right. You don't need to see a doctor for this. You can see a nurse practitioner for that.
Yeah.
If you're in Ghana and you're listening to me, you can
Yeah.
take this to your nearest healthcare facility.
Yeah.
And then when they check the way to calibrate is they will check your blood pressure with their standard machine at the hospital or at the GP practice where you are, and they will check it with your machine just to make sure that there's consistency.
Mm.
Right?
Mm.
There will be a subtle difference because these two machines are not the same. So
Mm.
you can have plus or minus 3 or 4 or 5
I
difference.
see.
So one of them will be 120, one of them will be 123, 124, 125. That's fine. Or less than that. So plus or minus 5 is
Yeah.
okay. So if you're going higher than that or lower than that, then you mean there's something wrong with your machine. So
Yeah.
because most of the devices at the hospitals have been calibrated very well. So you just compare that before you start using it. Otherwise, you go home and there might be something wrong with the machine, and you might be using it thinking you're fine, and all of a sudden you're not. So is especially these very small machines that wrap around your wrist and the rest of it. Sometimes you got to be very careful about it. So it's very, 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 very important. Say, Okotoa, make sure you take it to local GP. No more say a recorded as a record now. And so now they are coffee. So that's what I came back to kind of clarify that bit back.
Thanks a
Um,
lot. That's very helpful, to be honest. I don't think I even knew that. I didn't know the concept of calibrating it. I think we have some at home. I don't think we have calibrated it. We just keep
mhm.
measuring our blood pressures. Wonderful, wonderful news. All right then. Go on.
It is
Yeah.
yeah, no, this is the you remember I founded an organization called a hyperaction. So
Yeah.
hyperaction is essentially action on hypertension. That's what I've combined hyperaction. So it's something that I've been doing and going around to tell people and show people the correct way of doing things, and if they pick up they got high blood pressure, what they should be doing. And I think that's what we're probably going to talk next about it. I think we mentioned that blood pressure causes heart failure. Heart failure, very quickly again before we move on. Heart failure is when your heart is not pump when your heart is not sorry when your heart is not pumping enough blood out of your system,
Mm.
right? To make it simple.
Yeah.
So after every heartbeat, your heart should be pumping more than 55% of blood that's
Yeah.
collected in the heart itself.
Yeah.
If it doesn't pump more than 55% out, we say you've got heart failure with reduced ejection fraction. Reduced ejection fraction means it's not it's not ejecting as much blood out of your heart,
Yeah.
right? We have another heart failure, what we call heart failure with normal ejection fraction. So you are ejecting normal amount of blood away out of your heart, but you still got heart failure because of number one, blood pressure. What
Mm.
happens is when your blood pressure is very high,
Yeah.
over time, the muscles in your heart is a muscle, right?
Yeah.
The muscles in your heart gets thickened up, and the
Mm.
more thickening up that they get,
Mm.
they require more oxygen. So if they
Correct.
require more oxygen, it means they get thicker and stiffer. If
Yeah.
they get stiffer, it means they don't relax very well. Anything that's stiff does not relax very well.
Correct. Yeah.
So when blood comes from the different parts of the body back into the heart from the right side, the heart is not relaxed.
No.
Right? It's not relaxed enough. If it's not relaxed enough, it means it
Yeah.
does not collect enough blood,
Yeah.
right, into your heart. And there is back pressure into the lungs and other
Mm.
parts of the body. If
Mm.
there's back pressure into the lungs and other parts of the body, then you get shortness of breath, you get fluid in your ankles, well, on acid type.
Dr.
You'll get
Joseph, sorry to interrupt you again. Is it the same concept we get where we have like something like a muscle pull? You know,
no,
not
no. So
exactly.
muscle pull, no,
Yeah.
exactly. No, muscle pull is different. So
Yeah.
muscle pull is when you're talking about the sports muscle pull, or
Correct.
when people
When your muscle has not had enough, oxygen in it, it's you have what lactic acid produced that gives you that
right. So no, no.
excruciating pain.
Yeah, so that is temporarily not having enough. So that is more coronary artery disease. That's my
Okay.
specialty. That's my
Okay.
specialist area.
All
So
right.
if you don't, that's when the artery is blocked or narrowed,
Yeah.
right?
All right.
That's where you get chest pain. So your
Correct.
muscle pull in your heart is chest pain.
All right.
Right?
All right.
The
Thanks for
stiffness, the
clarifying that.
stiffness up. Yeah, the stiffness is completely different.
Yeah.
Stiffness is when your muscle becomes bigger, and hypertrophy. Hypertrophy is when it's big.
Yeah.
When it's big, very,
Mm.
very big, and you need chronic supply of a lot of oxygen, and
Yeah.
chronically is not being fed as much oxygen,
Yeah.
but it receives enough oxygen just to not cause you chest pain to work,
Yeah.
but it doesn't receive as much to make it um, as soft as it should be, which means it becomes fake. And when it becomes fake, it doesn't relax well. When it doesn't relax well, when there's blood that coming back into the heart, is not enough, and there's back pressure on the lungs and the rest of the body. So you get fluid in your lungs, you get fluid in your ankles, you get fluid in your liver, you get fluid in your tummy. So your tummy swells up, your foot and your legs swell up,
Mm.
and you get a lot of shortness of breath, and you get bigger with these things. So essentially, this is how blood pressure causes heart failure.
And so
Um,
we clearly can see that blood pressure has a lot of, I mean, high blood pressure. I mean, sometimes
yeah,
when we say blood pressure, we equate it to high blood pressure, but we it's important that we keep saying that high blood pressure
yeah,
cause all these
correct.
problems. Are there simple things that black men, for that
Yeah.
matter, Ghanaian men, can do? Because these things are sometimes linked to a lot of the things that we do, lifestyle and all of that. The simple things that we sort of we can adjust, to help us.
Yeah. So now coming to how we can help ourselves with blood pressure. The first thing is, as I said, before I go on to it, like if you look at, I'll tell if people are listening to me, you
Yeah.
look at your family tree,
Mm,
right? Just
mm.
two generations. Don't
Hey,
go too far.
that's a
Just two
big issue.
generations. That's right. That's right. Exactly. So there's a reason why I said that. If you look
Yeah.
at, just one or two generations, you see that you find
Yeah.
at least three, four, five people who've got high blood pressure.
Mm,
It's genetics, the cause
mm,
of it. I'm not going to go into the cause of it because again, it's massive. It's a big topic. Blood pressure is a big, big, big topic on its own.
yeah.
So, the cause of it, one, genetics, big, big, big factor, especially Black Afro Caribbeans, African and Caribbeans. Secondly, diet. Got a lot of salt in our diet.
Mm,
We eat a lot
mm.
of carbs in our diet.
Hey, chale,
We
chile
don't.
de me pay. I like salt.
That's exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Mm,
That
mm.
you look at our food. You look at our foods. Some of our foods are were stored with stored with salt.
Yeah.
Kobe, whatever,
Kobe.
whatever it is. All
Yeah.
these things are salted, salted, salted.
More money.
Most of our foods. That's right. If you go into the Maggi they put in our food, salt. Whatever is salt. So everything is salt. And the funny thing is we don't look at the salt content in what we do.
Mm,
We don't, what we just do is, it will make it taste nice. So we just start pouring it in,
yeah.
salt is a big, big, big factor in our diet. And that's why a lot of us have high blood pressure. Mind you, we got genetic predisposition for this because of the makeup sometimes
Yeah.
of our fibrin cells the fibrin in muscle cells in our heart. So we
Mm,
got genetic predisposition already. And if
yeah.
you add a salt onto it, then again, that also becomes another problem. A
Yeah.
lack of exercise,
Mm,
okay? Lack of exercise also is a big problem, because we know research shows us that when you exercise regularly 3 times a week, blood pressure drops by at least five. So blood pressure, exercise, lack of or more salt in our diet, genetic predisposition, and stress. Stress is a big factor as well in blood pressure. Stress is one of the biggest factors. I've always said this, that if you're in diaspora, right? If you're a diasporan,
yeah.
okay, um, you got a baseline stress already, right? You wake up in the morning and your stress. Mark, so today, right now, Mark, if you're to check your stress level
It's
in
high.
your blood compared to mine, you find
Yeah.
that mine is very, very, very low because I'm relaxing in
I was
Ghana.
I was speaking with my family this week, and I asked them how are things, and my sister go, "Oh, no money, but we are very good." Like, in Ghana, you can say no money, but you're very good. But it's not
Exactly.
the same for us here.
Exactly.
If you don't have money, you can't say you're very
That's it.
good.
If you don't have money, you be kicked out of your house. You be kicked out. You're kicked. You know that. You know this as much as
I
everyone
know,
that's
man.
listening knows it.
We
You know.
take so many things for granted at home.
That's right.
If you've
That's
not
right.
paid your rent at home, nobody
That's right.
kicks you out.
That's right.
You've not
That's
paid
right.
your kids' fees, nobody, says anything. There might be some warning here and there, but
That's
right
right. There's
now,
help.
you know, oh,
There's help around.
it's
There's always somewhere you can go to, and there's always somewhere you can go to. Of course, in where we are from is completely different.
completely.
So yeah, so that's why we say you always there's always a sort of baseline stress
So, do
when
you
you're
think it's safe to say that we would have high blood pressure more in our part in this side of the world than probably even at home? I mean, all things being.
100%, 100%. That's what I'm saying. This is a big topic. This requires 2 hours on its own. So
Mm,
so definitely you do there's some, and this has been the research has been done. This is not something I'm just saying.
yeah,
This is that there are papers that have been produced to reflect that when you're a migrant, it's called a migrant blood pressure. When you're a migrant, um
that's a new
you know
word. Migrant
yeah,
blood.
yeah, yeah. Correct. I mean, there's this guy in Holland that's
Yeah.
is brilliant. That's actually a Ghanaian guy. I'll find his name. He's one of the, he's done lots of research in that part of Europe
Mm,
to check, and that's what I said. Remember, after during our conference, I said we can all collaborate and do some of these things to
yeah.
help ourselves. And
Mm,
he's done a few of those research, and he's found that look, the average migrant has a significantly elevated blood pressure compared to the people back home on a sort of a resting stage, like at night,
yeah.
because as I said, the worries that we go through are significant compared to the worries that people face over here.
Yeah.
So there's a baseline. So what I'm saying, basically, what am I saying? The reason I'm waffling on, make kasa me just say, if you're migrant in Europe or in Americas or wherever you are,
Yeah.
you always have some sort of circulating adrenaline or blood because of the worries that you have a lot of time about so
Yeah.
many things.
Yeah.
It's meant for another pressure behind some kind of life because the
Mm.
moment you start adding other pressures to your life, then you're doubling up your risk.
It will
So
kill
what
you,
I
man.
say. That's right. You're doubling up your risk, and if you double up your risk of pressure, then your blood, sorry, of the risk of stress, then your blood pressure goes up significantly. When your blood pressure
Mm.
goes up significantly, then you have a risk of having stroke, risk of blood, heart disease,
Yeah.
all the ones that we've said already.
Yeah.
So yeah, to summarize the risk factors, because I can see our time is far going. So
Yeah.
to summarize the risk factors, I'll say number one is salt, lots of salt. We need to cut down our salt in our diet. Number two, we need to exercise at least 3, 4 times a week, about 30 minutes to just sweat a little bit. Number three is you need to eat healthily, as we've said. Number
Mm.
four is to try and cut down the stress levels in our body.
Mm.
Number five is you got to recognize your family tree. If someone has blood pressure in it, that's close to you. You know
Mm.
that's the biggest red flag that you can ever get. So
Mm.
you have to look after yourself very, very well. And what can we do? Number one, get yourself a machine, calibrate the machine by your GP, check your pressures. If it's elevated slightly, if the resting is elevated to above 120 over 80, if you are at work and you check it is more than 140 and things like that, again, get yourself to see a GP or any of your doctors as soon as possible. Number three is risk factors, although they are not common. Sorry, I'm sorry, not risk factors. The symptoms, although they are not common, you don't often gain a symptom. One of the things that you might feel is a headache or dizziness or that sort of thing. If you get anything like that, get yourself to see your GP as soon as possible because it causes heart failure. You might, if you're getting heart failure, might getting some fluid in your legs. So that's better tight.
Mm.
Unanti kakra bi no abrɛ na ɛsɛ ogyina hɔ no. Unanti kakra bi no abrɛ na ɛsɛ ogyina hɔ. Yeah, and also no, is a risk for you. So go and see your GP, and I'm sure there are lots of things we can do. So maybe Mark, if I touch on what we can do. So treating the blood pressure quickly is again is multifaceted or multifactorial. It's not just taking the pills and going away. A lot of things have to go into it. Number one is education. We have to educate you on the blood pressure as we are doing right now. We will have to educate you a little bit more about the dangers and the reasons why you should take the medication, or we should try and get it down. Number two, once we are, satisfied with that, then we can prescribe the necessary medication for you. With everyone, if you look in the Ghana community, if you asked about 20 people, you find out that at least 10 people are on a tablet called amlodipine. So amlodipine is the commonest blood pressure treatment or pill that we give for Afro-Caribbeans, because research has shown that that's the one that works a lot in us. So that's why most of us are, or most of the black people are on amlodipine. And amlodipine is not the only drug. So everyone says, oh, they give you amlodipine. And for the men, especially being a men health week, amlodipine does cause some erectile dysfunction. It does cause erectile dysfunction sometimes
Yeah,
because of the way it works.
correct. So, and it's a lot of some
Yeah.
of the
So,
guys I
mhm,
know
mhm.
don't like the men in particular don't like amlodipine. So whilst we are here, obviously because you've mentioned the erectile dysfunction, if you can touch base on that for us, it will be
Yes, that's right. So amlodipine does cause it does cause some erectile problems. So, especially some erectile dysfunction in younger men, and obviously, young men being sexually active, they don't want that. That's fine. That's fine. There's a lot of. I always tell people, don't just stop taking it and stay at home. What happens? People stop taking it. They don't go and see the doctor because they
Mm.
think they'll rather die than to have erectile dysfunction. So they will just, yeah, that's a lot. That's
Well,
usually what I get.
its sexual activities are very important,
That's right.
it's an ego thing, isn't it?
That's right. So people
It's
want, they're married and stuff. They want to be able to perform their
yeah.
duties. They've got girlfriends, all that. So yeah. So people don't like it, but what they often do is they just stop it and
Mm,
not take it. Okay, but I'm just here to tell you that there are a lot of other options if you don't have amlodipine. Lots of other options for us as black people. There's some nowadays there are combined pills, right, that we put together. That can so you can have amlodipine plus something called Ramipro plus something called spironolactone plus they're all in one pill. So there's a bit of amlodipine, not a lot of amlodipine. There's a bit of Spiro, there's a bit of Ramipro. Put in one pill, you can have, right? Especially the Americans are the best at these. I think Europe and the UK, we've only just started, getting along with these things. So we don't really have a lot of combined pills in the UK, well, for example. But they're available. They're available if you want them. If we have I always say to people, we have a host of blood pressure tablets that are available, more than 20, I would say. So if one of them does not help you in terms of your sexual activity, it was causing a problem, or it's causing, then you can change it for something else. Don't stay at home. Go to your GP. Tell them, look, this is not helping me. Can we change and try something else? Yes, they will try something else for you. If it doesn't work, they will try something else. If it doesn't work, they'll try something else until you get the right one. Please don't stay at home. Keep going and keep trying it, because if you don't get your blood pressure down, obviously, yeah. And I always say this, that I've got patients that come to me that are over 80 years and 90 years, that they've had blood pressure problems for over 40, 50 years. The reason
mm,
why they are still the reason why they are still alive is they've been consistent with taking their medication. They've been consistent with checking their blood pressure, consistent in making sure it's down. If you control your blood pressure, it's just your risk, it comes down to the same as you not having a blood pressure. The only thing is, obviously, you take a pill. And I'll finish with this, Mark, that there are these new exciting developments
yeah.
that called renal denervation therapy. There's a therapy that we can offer sometimes, that if you have malignant blood pressure is when it cannot be controlled. We
Correct.
tried, giving pills cannot be controlled. Then there are new therapies called renal denervation therapy that some of us can do. What you do is we bend the nerves in your the nerves in the your kidney arteries, because
Mm,
that's where the blood pressure is being controlled.
mm,
When we bend the nerves, your blood pressure comes down. So it
wow.
works in a lot of people. In 6 or 7 out of 10 people, it works. Some people would need
I think
repeat.
you want to say that one again. Malignant hypertension and how to
Yeah,
manage. Repeat that
that's
one.
right. Well, actually, so let me change the words actually.
Mm,
So we have malignant high blood pressure. We have refractory high blood pressure.
mm,
Refractory high blood pressure is the one that does not respond to medication,
mm,
right? You treat, it still comes back. That's refractory because it
mm,
doesn't respond to medication and
mm,
keeps going up, right? So that is the one I was talking about. Okay, that is
Mm,
the one I was talking about. And the treatment for that is something called renal denervation therapy. So
mm,
renal is kidney, denervation is to take out the
mm.
nerves in the kidney arteries. Once we bend them off, then we know or we've seen that the blood pressure comes down because that's why your blood pressure is controlled in your kidneys.
And when
So
that is, sorry, Joseph, when that is done, do you still go back on your medications, or you're
no,
free?
no,
You're
no.
off
So
medication.
that's right. So we will try you some period off medication to see if it's responded. If it's responded, then we'll know that your blood pressure will come down by 30 or 20 millimeters of mercury. If it comes down, then you're lucky. You're one of the people that would not need lifetime medication. Or you, even if you need it, it might be very small dose or something. It might not be the same as you're taking it. Sometimes people require 2 or 3 procedures to get all the nerves bent because most of the nerves are outside of the artery and some of them are inside of the artery. So there are no now newer technologies that are try and bend the nerves that are outside of the artery. Out, that these are newer things that are coming up. I mean, in fact, it's this year that one of them came up, so it's still in the infancy. But the ones that we are doing are inside the artery. That bends the nerves, and they seem to work quite well. So again, it's one of the therapies that if we can get it here in Ghana or in the Ghanaian community, it will be a game changer for our community. So we really need to collaborate, Mark, on these things and try and help ourselves because nobody's coming to save us, unfortunately. So yeah, so that's refractory blood pressure. The next one is called malignant high blood pressure. Malignant is when your blood pressure is too high, it's dangerously high. It's more than 180 over
Mm.
100 or 110. Is dangerous. That is the territory where you have a stroke.
Oh dear.
All right. It is, yeah,
Yes.
this is a trach you have a stroke, more than
Yes.
180, and you have something called aortic dissection as well. Now,
Mm,
it splits the arteries
mm.
in the arteries in your chest. It
Yeah.
splits them because it's too high. It
Yeah.
splits them. So
Yeah.
you need your blood pressure controlled as a matter of emergency at
Mm.
this point. You need to
Yeah.
take pills. You need to be in an A&E setting, not at home. If you
Yeah.
check your blood pressure is more than 180, please go straight to A&E.
Yeah.
Right. If you have pills at home that you can take to bring it down, fine. But my advice to you is if you whenever you check your blood pressure is more than 180, 180 over 100, please make your way to the A&E department as soon as possible. Now the clock is ticking for you to having a stroke.
I
If it's
agree.
if it's over 200, then you know that you are danger zone. Like
Yes.
literally any minute from now you have a stroke. So that's
Yeah.
malignant blood pressure. And there are some special medication we give to that to bring your blood pressure down significantly. Something called doxycycline,
Mm.
alpha blockers and things like that we can do. So yeah. So in a nutshell, that is high blood pressure. Sorry for waffling on, Mark, but this is one of the biggest things I thought I should spend a little bit of time on it to
That
educate a
that
lot of
is
people.
that is totally fine, and I'm happy you did that. I'm happy you've done that. You've given us lots and lots of things. I've learned a lot from that waffling. So by all means, happy for you to waffle. Otherwise, I would have stopped you, as you probably are aware. So yeah, I was I thought it was very good piece of information, very good piece of content for listeners, and we'll definitely dedicate a section on high blood pressure because obviously there's a stroke component which there's a lot to be covered as well, and the heart attack and then the heart failure. So you've not, you've done a lot of good to it. You've just touched a tip of the iceberg, but
That's
we've
all right.
not done justice to it. So by all
Correct.
means we'll come back to it. We're running out of time. There are a few things we want to talk about, but I think we'll do we'll continue the section probably next week, if time and things allow. Um, a big thank you to everyone again who found time and space to be with us. Please continue to continue to listen. There are recorded versions that you can find on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. So if you didn't manage to join us today, and some of your friends or your family members were not able to join, by all means share the link with them so they can also listen and tap into some of these important points that we've had. Uh, Men should take care of themselves. Families depend on us, rely on us to get going. The little things we can do with respect to our health we should take them absolutely important. Um, we'll probably end here today. So I would want to wish all of us a very good weekend. Joseph, do you have any final words before we go?
I think my final words are. I think we touched on just prostate cancer and hypertension. These are the one of the two, most important causes or risk factors to our health in men. So we should really take it seriously in terms of knowing our risk factors, knowing how to spot these diseases, and knowing how to manage or treat them. I think we've touched on quite a lot about all of them. So reflect on that. See your GP if you don't understand anything, or speak to someone who you think knows a little bit more. Okay.
Wonderful, wonderful. Bye bye for now.
Yeah.